Hey, everybody, this is Jim Horn, and this is another Traverse Talks podcast. And it's always great to do a podcast when you can bring really great news to the community. And today we're going to be talking about some significant improvements over at the VASA Trail. And we're going to listen to John Chase, who is the Director of Parks and Recreation. He also handles the facilities. I consider John the Swiss Army knife of Grand Traverse County. And we're going to listen to his presentation, and then we've got a public comment at the end. But to let you know, this thing passed unanimously. Anyway, let's listen to the conversation and what's going to be done there over at the park.
Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, staff. We are here today to talk about the VASA Trailhead Park. A little bit of background on the VASA Trailhead Park. So VASA Trailhead Park is a 40-acre park property off Bartlett Road in Acme Township. It is the only officially designated access point for the VASA Trail network, and it's home to a couple of things. Home to the grooming barn that TART uses to maintain and groom the VASA trails. And it's also home to the VASA Bike Park and a new pump track, courtesy of our friends at Northern Michigan Mountain Bike Association. I believe they were here a little while ago. And so some user stats about the park. 2023, we did a survey along with our 2024, 2028 master plan for the parks, our recreation plan. And from that survey, 12% of respondents in the survey said they visited that park on at least a weekly basis. So it's the second highest of any weekly visitors. Of course, Civic Center being the highest one, and the Medalli just a little bit lower than that at 11%. 23,420 users in 2024, pretty evenly split between the winter months and the summer months, with an average of about 64 visitors a day, and with a high visit of 638 on May 11th of 2024. And those numbers are only from the trail counter on the VASA Trail, just as you get off the property proper, and that does not include any of the activity that happens within the VASA Bike Park.
Could you say that number again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, 23,420 visitors.
You know, it's a shame. With that many visitors, I'm going to let John go on, but with that many visitors, we really haven't done much of the park in a long time. But anyway, he's done a fine job here. I'll let John continue.
Use the VASA Trail specifically. So from that trailhead. Improvement history. So that particular property had a Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund grant in 1990. And that was used to build the parking lot, the restroom building, and just some other maintenance building and a couple of other things on property. Outside of that, 1998, there were some additional improvements that were made to that property to expand the warming hut, and that is really the only significant investment that's been made into the park since then. There were some. I should mention this: the bike park. So Northern Michigan Mountain Bike Association put in the bike park on property, and that's a skills park right there at the parking lot area. And then there's also about 2 miles of single track and then a number of jump lines that are built on property. And that's all within that 40-acre complex. So that was an addition that the Northern Michigan Mountain Bike Association made. TART also helped us out with doing some interior and exterior finishing of the warming hut. Really niced it up quite a bit. So thank you very much for Chris, from Chris Cushman for TART for helping out with that.
So if you ever wonder what TART does with their money, got an idea. They're going to throw some more money at this.
We are here about an improvement project that we're looking to do. We've been going through this plan for about a year and a half now, going through a conceptual plan, which you see on the screen ahead of you here. And this is a slight modification from the one that's in your packet. I realized afterwards that there was a couple of errors in that. So this is a slight modification, which we'll make sure we get out to you. And I'll mention those modifications here in just a minute. But TART actually commissioned the conceptual plan. And then TART went another step and commissioned the engineering study, which we have just completed for this property. And a few things that you'll notice on the final plan concept that you see up on the screen here, I want to point out. So first is improved stormwater management. Right now, if you've been to the park, you'll know that as you drive into the park, you drive down the gravel driveway, the asphalt driveway, which is actually more gravel than it is asphalt. That was put in 1991. 34-year-old driveway. It's lived its life, doesn't owe us anything. But as you drive down that driveway, you get to the parking lot. It's a gravel parking lot. It is highly compacted gravel to the point where it almost acts like asphalt. So it acts like concrete. It pitches heavily to the north. So whenever we have a rain event, all that rain and all that water and all that material ends up flowing across the parking lot and then flows in towards the grooming barn with the Tart grooming barn there. So one of the pieces of this project is to replace that entry drive and then to replace the parking lot surface itself, or regrade the parking lot surface, put an underlayment to that, and then asphalt that parking lot surface. All that will contribute to improved stormwater management. There's also a stormwater basin that's up in the top left corner of this plan. And then there's also some other stormwater features in the medians in between with native plantings to act as a rain garden and be able to soak up additional water there as well. In addition to the driveway, the parking lot, and the stormwater management, and the bioswales that I mentioned for the native plantings, this particular plan improves the number of parking spaces. It's about 42. We can get about 42 cars in that particular space. With the redesign, that would actually expand us to 57 spaces there.
What John doesn't mention, or what I don't have in here, is the fact that they've actually widened the parking spaces from normal to 10 feet wide to provide for skis and bikes and so forth.
Also around the warming hut, there's a number of gathering spaces, including a fire pit that you see right there in front of the warming hut, with some seating and some benches to really create some connection, some community. One of the purposes around that is that the warming hut today is not really used as much as a warming hut. It's used as a restroom building, but the interior of the building is not truly that functional. You can't really get to that building very easily if you're in bike shoes, or if you're in the winter and you've got trying to sketch your way up that icy parking lot. We want to basically redesign that area so there's a reason for people to go there. You'll see some other features in there, some ski racks, some ski tuning capabilities, a bike repair station, bike wash. All that stuff kind of draws people toward that area. And then as you move off to the right, you'll see item M. That is a improved width gravel path. And that moves down towards item F and creates a second entry to the pathway. To the VASA pathway. So people can basically go from their vehicles, go to the warming hut, use the warming hut as it is originally intended, and then ski directly from the warming hut down path M, connect right to the trails. The ask that we have today is the opportunity for us to apply for a Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund grant in the amount of $400,000, and to request that this commission commit $300,000 toward a match, in addition to the $100,000 that our friends from TART have also committed, making it a 50% match. So $400,000 match versus a $400,000 ask, or $400,000 grant request. I'd say it's 50% because they look at it as 50% of the entire project. So it's 100% even match, but 50% of the entire project.
Okay, public comment.
I may, other than Mr. Hefner, I probably live the second closest to this trailhead, a few hundred yards away. It is one of the reasons I actually came to ACME. I have both been pushed out of and helped others push out of holes in that parking lot. It is desperately needed, and the Skills Trail is just an amazing resource. If you haven't brought your kids there, it is truly a delightful summer experience in addition to the winter experience. So thank you for your support.
That was public citizen Harold Lassers. Anyway, folks, great job there by John Chase getting this thing done. And the improvements are, I don't know when they're going to start, but obviously they're hopefully going to get here the funding soon and go forward. Anyway, hey, Traverse City, have yourself another great day.